Mark, let's go. Class time. Things to learn. Get in here. We're in the middle of unit looking at the best, most creative, most regionally and historically significant high school mascots in the United States. Presidents, man. We've had the Jefferson Democrats, the Kennedy Fighting Irish, we've had the Lincoln Rail Splitters, and the Roosevelt Rough Riders. We've had Polynesian mascots like the Waimea High School Menehunas and the Spanish language mascots like the Tierra Encantada Alcaranes. I can't believe I mispronounced Javelinas last week. I lived in Central California for 35 years. Estupido. This is our fourth video. We'll be doing more. This time, we're in B1G country, the upper Midwest, Great Lakes states. Who's got the best high school mascot in each state in this region? Let's find out. Let's go rogue. Let's go first to Iowa, the Hawkeye State, where we've got the Waverly Go-Hawks, the Audubon Wheelers, the Boone Toreadors, the Clinton River Kings, the Interstate 35 Roadrunners. That's a high school? Interstate 35 High School. Home of the Roadrunners. Or the Fort Madison Bloodhounds. And I love the North High School Polar Bears from Des Moines. But the best mascot in Iowa, I'm going with the Centerpoint Urbana Stormin' Pointers. Dogs again. How can you go wrong? And they're storming to get there. Let's go north of Iowa, up to Minnesota, where we find the Buffalo High School Bison, the Osseo Orioles, the Triton Cobras, the Brooklyn Center Centaurs. A little alliteration there. The Burnsville Blaze, the Moorhead Spuds, reminiscent of the potatoes back in Idaho. And one of my favorites, the Fond du Lac Ojibwe Ogechita. But for the best high school mascot in Minnesota, I'm going to Minneapolis, and I'm looking at the Roosevelt High School Teddies. There's a couple ways to look at it. It's either the president's first name or it's the Bears that are called by his first name. Build-A-Bear, baby! Go Teddies! Wisconsin, land of the cheeseheads. Let's go. I was so excited about paper makers and cheese makers when I was looking at the West Coast teams. Now I come to Wisconsin and find out they got both of them. In Kimberly and in Nakusa, both those schools are called the Paper Makers, home of Kimberly Clark. Monroe High School is the Cheese Makers. How about Allen High School, the Green Mountain Boys? I wouldn't say Irwin Allen, but that's a different person. Ethan Allen. The Elkhart Lake Resorters, the Kettle Moraine Lasers, and the Washington Pergolders. And of course, we can't forget about the Manitowoc Lincoln Ships. But for my best Wisconsin high school mascot, we're going to the city of Rhinelander, Wisconsin, and celebrating the Hodags. Sort of a dairy-infused chupacabra, I guess. A mythical being that locals say is the incarnation of thousands of abused animals. One was discovered near the city of Rhinelander, and a mascot was born. Going down to Illinois. In West Chicago, we've got the Wildcats. I wonder if that was the school that Goldie Hawn was playing in her movie called Wildcats. The Abingdon Commandos. In this case, an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, not about football. The Comer Catamounts, the Dunbar Mighty Men, the Fenwick Friars, the MacArthur High School Generals, and of course the South Shore Tars. But my selection for best Illinois high school mascot, all the choices in Chicago, but we gotta go outside of the city to find the Hoopeston High School Corn Jerkers. Let's go. Let's go east, over to Indiana, where you find the Delphi High School Oracles. Every Greek play begins with an oracle at Delphi. The Washington High School Continentals in Indianapolis, the Grant High School Argyles, the Speedway High School Sparkplugs, and the Tell City Marksmen for William Tell, who shot an apple off a guy's head. Geez, I don't want to go the easy route, but the Frankfurt hot dogs was such a gutsy call by the community. No, that's too easy. For history, specific to the region, I'm going to go with the Perry High School Commodores. 3 times a lady, and I love you. No, not those Commodores. Commodore Perry shocked the world in the War of 1812 with his victory over the British at the Battle of Lake Erie. Right on. Let's go up to Michigan. I want to thank Taipei Joey 101 for suggesting the Lincoln High School Abes, kind of following along with the Roosevelt Teddies, also getting away from that rail splitters imagery that is so common. Also in Michigan, you have the Chavez Academy Aztec Eagles, a little Latin flavor for you. In Carlton, you have the Airport High School Jets. You have the Vassar High School Vulcans. You have the Athens Redhawks. Not so much because of the mascot, but the fact that Athens is in Troy, Michigan. The whole Iliad and Odyssey thing. Also in Troy, you got the Troy High School Defenders. I like the Catholic Central Shamrocks. If you want real rocks, you're going to have to go to Salem High School. The Rocks. That'd be a great ball game. The Rocks versus the Shamrocks. In Detroit, you've got the Pershing High School Doughboys. Doughboys, of course, was the term given to the American soldiers that General John J. Pershing led into World War I. But for the best mascot in Michigan, you got to go up on the Upper Peninsula, where you'll find the Watersmeet Nimrods. A biblical person. Nimrod. He was the grandson of Noah, the flood guy. And also a great hunter. Nimrods. That's awesome. Once I had a student that moved in from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. The Lower Peninsula and the Upper Peninsula are connected by the Mackinac Bridge. She said that the people of the Upper Peninsula... She said that the people of the Lower Peninsula called the people on the Upper Peninsula Oopers. And the Oopers called the people on the Lower Peninsula Trolls. Because they live under the bridge. Let's go across the Toledo Strip to Ohio, where you'll find the Afrocentric Early College Nubians. That's one of the best. In Dublin, Ohio, you've got the Kaufman High School Shamrocks, as opposed to the real rocks. Also in Dublin, you have the Scioto High School Irish. East Tech High School in Cleveland is called the Scarabs. North Adams High School is the Green Devils. Not sure why they're green. Ottawa Hills High School in Toledo is referred to as the Green Bears. Again, why green? And once again, we have generals, this time at Sheridan High School. Best high school mascot in Ohio? You gotta go to Cleveland and look up the Glenville Tarblooders. These are the dudes that built America, the men that bled tar, working on the railroads in the early 1900s. Workers at the Glenville Tar Company smeared hot tar on the railroad ties after they were laid to seal them and hold them in place. The mixture of tar, dirt, and sweat rolling off these men gave them the impression that they actually sweat blood. I love that. Hey, thanks for coming to class. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. If I did it right, I did both. I had fun, but I won't quit my day job. And remember, the next time you're in a high school stadium on a Friday night, sitting on those hard, cold metal planks, freezing your butt off, getting ready to watch the paper makers take on the cheese makers, remember me. I'm Mark Haggard. I'm a history teacher, and I've gone rogue.